from our perspective, we never want to panic. We always want to ask why. And so if you look at what's happened going back into 2021, right, mills were catching up. They were behind on orders. Lead times were extended. It was tough to get domestic products. So some companies felt the need to buy import on top of their domestic buys just to get product. And then as you get into a seasonal slow time in Q4, mills start to catch up, imports start to arrive, and inventories start to build. At the same time, when you get downstream into manufacturing and construction, steel is not the only material that impacts the supply chain. So now manufacturers are working through other issues with their supply chain where their demand is still strong, the construction is still healthy, but the projects aren't necessarily moving as quickly, or manufacturing process is slowed where the bottleneck was where steel production starts. Now it's where manufacturing is. And so I think that's what we've seen. And then once you started to see the price turn, right, no one wants to get caught with high cost inventory. Everyone went through a tough 2021 in terms of dealing with the rising cost environment, as well as all the other challenges. So I think that we've seen a buyer strike on top of that. And I think if you look at where pricing got to in 2021, it probably got higher than it should ever got to. At the same time, now we're seeing buyers slow down their purchases more than their actual demand, working through their inventory and production and labor and logistics situations. So that's what I think is happening right now in terms of pricing. As far as where we are in the cycle, right? No one wants to ever try to predict where this thing's going to stop. I think it's going to stop when the mills are more disciplined in terms of how they approach the market. I think it's going to stop when people have to come back and buy and they've worked through the inventory and imports, and we'll see that in terms of lead times and how the mills approach pricing. I think the other thing is that it's not a one size fits all, right? You look at HRC pricing, you look at cold rolled and coated pricing. I mean, cold rolled pricing today, if you're looking at indexes, is higher than coated. That doesn't make sense from a cost perspective. So what does that mean? It means that we're not in a cost plus driven environment. We're in a market driven environment. And so really it depends on which mill you're talking to, which location, and what their situation is. And so I think that while we're always looking for the one size fits all number, there's not always a one size fits all number. So you have to really understand kind of who your supply base is, where it's coming from, and what that means. Well, of course, we want to always look at what's happening in terms of your ranges at SMU or third-party index prices.